Good morning, Unity of Albany.
Good morning.
I'm Bob Sima.
And I'm Shannon Plummer.
Together we are
Where the light gets in.
We're here to bring a little light into your world. Shannon's got a beautiful talk for you, and it's entitled The Cheapest Room in the House. And we're going to jump into that with the first song.
Fear is the cheapest room in the house. I'd like to see more love in your eyes. Fear is the coldest room with no doubt. I'd like to see more love in your eyes. Fear is a flame only your heart can blow out. I'd like to see more love in your eyes. 'Cause in your eyes the love will show, and the love expands everywhere you go, and it grows and grows as it goes out into the arms of a grateful world. Oh yeah, it's a grateful world. Greed is the oldest trick in the book. I'd like to see more flowing through your hands. Greed, she's a thief, steals every second that you've got. I'd like to see more flowing through your hands. Greed, she will bleed you, and she will suffocate and tease you. I'd like to see more flowing through your hands. 'Cause all you touch, it turns to gold, and when you release it, it turns into more, and it never ends, it goes on and on into the arms of a grateful world. Oh, my brothers and sisters, it's a grateful world. Come with me, together we'll go to see the friend. I'd like to see you taste some of her medicine. Come with me, we'll lay a prayer out on the wind. I'd like to see you taste some of her medicine. Come with me, we'll lay a kiss down on the land. I'd like to see you taste some of her medicine. Well, I can't be sure, but somehow I know that every prayer, well, it's paid in full. 'Cause every heart touches every soul in the everlasting arms of a grateful world. Oh, my brothers and sisters, it's a grateful world. I'd like to see more love. I'd like to see more love. I'd like to see more love in your eyes. Come on, sing it with us. I'd like to see more love. I'd like to see more love. I'd like to see more love in your eyes. I'd like to see you flowing. I'd I'd like to see more flowing. I'd like to see more flowing through your hands. Sing it with us. I'd like to see more flowing. I'd like to see more flowing. I'd like to see more flowing through your hands. Yeah, I'd like to see a taste. I'd like to see a taste. I'd like to see a taste some of this medicine. I'd like to see a taste. I'd like to see a taste. I'd like to see a taste some of this medicine. Fear is the cheapest room in the house. I'd like to see more love in your eyes. Fear is the coldest room with no doubt. And I'd like to see more love in your eyes. Fear is a flame only your heart can blow out. And I'd like to see more love in your eyes.
Fear is the cheapest room in the house. I would like to see you living in better conditions, for your mother and my mother were friends. This is a quote by the 14th century Persian poet Hafiz. And though this prose continues for several verses, the opening line is the subject of what we are going to talk about today. And it all starts with fear. Where does fear begin and where does it end? Fear is a basic human function that originates as a feeling, turns into an emotion, and creates a response in our primitive brain that affects one of three physical reactions: fight, flight, or freeze. And actually, now they say fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. But what do we really know about fear? With over 100 documented scientific studies that have attempted to define how the body reacts to fear, scientists are still unable to understand, describe, or quantify fear itself. So, the question is, how does fear begin and how does it end? So, in my own personal definitions of the universal truths, I refer back to the Aramaic word that was introduced to me by Dale Allen Hoffman. That word is rucha. That word is associated with the concept of breath. Now, I deliberately say the concept of breath rather than state that rucha means breath. That one word, rucha, is more than just one thing. It represents something that you can detect its presence, but you cannot find its source. You can detect its presence, but you cannot find its source. Dale often uses examples of breath, electricity, and magnetism to relate the concept of rucha. In our workshops and retreats, I often go another step further and bring in those elements that we know exist, but we can neither identify the originating source nor find their completion. I use the phrase universal truths to categorize things like love, joy, peace, balance, perfection, soul, spirit. And those things that when we really try to describe them, we are unable to clearly define or rationalize for our logical brain. They're concepts that become an experience, just like rucha. I don't believe fear belongs in that category. Though we often have to dig into our subconscious for the origins, we are able to track back to the source of our fears, the beginning. With awareness and commitment to ourselves, we're able to overcome our fears. The end. I believe that fear is a human construct designed for survival. A human construct designed for survival, period. It was not intended to drive us or motivate us beyond the moment we absolutely needed to escape from literal death. Therefore, it does not equate to any of those other universal truths. Yet our human brain often uses memories and limiting beliefs to create a perceived threat that appears to be truth. Fear. False evidence appearing real. We've all heard that before. So I am going to today invite us to a new acronym for fear. Face everything and respond. Which takes us back to Hafiz. Fear is the cheapest. Cheap. What does cheap mean? Of little or no value. So what value does fear bring to us? It is a wonderful, primal, automated response when we are in danger. Yet, how often are we truly in danger for our survival? Humans are not yet an endangered species. We have populated all of the easily habitable spaces on Earth, yet our collective thoughts, our collective actions, our collective consciousness are often fueled and running on fear. Fear is the cheapest room. A clearly defined space within a larger defined space. How often do we allow a series of imagined events playing in our storied mind to lead us down a rabbit hole right into this cheap room, the cheapest room, according to Hafiz? Our imaginations can be magnanimously and incomprehensibly active. Our free will to focus our attention and our imagination on whatever we choose creates our reality. So if we focus on something while we are lounging in the cheapest room of fear, everything appears to be very, very daunting. The unknown, the unseen, the undeveloped, the unspoken, the uncharacterized, they're all tainted with fight, flight, or freeze reactions before they actually happen. Fear is the cheapest room in the house. House. A place inhabited for protection. So what does your house look like? And I'm not talking about the physical, structured house that you call your home. Your spiritual house. What does it look like? How much time do you spend designing your house? Adding new rooms, expanding your consciousness, When you add rooms, are they cheap? Do you afford your beautiful imagination the limitless possibilities that are within you as you, without worry and without fear? Maria Robinson said, "Nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending." To that, anyone can start today and redesign or renovate their house. Find the rooms that need updated. Find the rooms that need a makeover. Find the rooms that need love. Don't try to demolish them. Simply spend the time to transform them into a lavishly expensive, lavishly expansive room. Fear is the cheapest room in the house. I would like to see you living in better conditions. Conditions. The state of something that will support one's well-being. What conditions do you create in your house? What state of being do you carry in this meat suit we call a human body? Some describe it as the soul's temple. Well, yes, it is a temple. We owe our soul the best conditions for limitless growth on all levels. We owe our brothers and sisters the best conditions for limitless growth on all levels. We have the ability to create those conditions. Fear is the cheapest room in the house. I would like to see you living in better conditions for your mother and my mother. We're friends. Your mother and my mother. The divine feminine connection. In most spiritual paths, the feminine is the energy of creation. She is not the creator, but creativity itself. Creativity and concepts that inspire the masculine energies to outwardly create the next iteration of creation. We are in the masculine physical form as the creators of our own experience. Yet we're fueled by the feminine conceptual form as creativity. By your mother and my mother. By the nurturing, caring, maternal energies of the universe. To what extent are you honoring your mother? To what extent are you honoring your creativity? To what extent are you honoring the divine's creativity in your spiritual house? So I would like to invite you into a meditation. And as we sit, we allow ourselves to sink into our chair beneath us. We uncross our legs, uncross our arms. Find a comfortable position, the perfect position for you to enter a contemplative space. I invite you to stretch your spinal cord to allow that channel to be open for energy to flow. If you haven't already, simply close your eyes, lower your eyelids, soften your gaze, and give yourself permission to enter that space of creativity. Feel that creative energy force moving through you. And focus your attention on your breath. As you inhale, imagine a stream of white light entering the top of your head, traveling down your spinal cord, filling your heart, traveling further down your spinal column. And as you exhale, allowing that white light to continue to your feet and extend the entire way to the core of the earth. That white light is your information highway. That highway connects creativity with creation. Your mother and my mother. I invite you to enter that spiritual house, your spiritual house. As you move through the rooms, inspect the rooms. Find the cheap rooms where fear sits. And open your arms. Move a step closer to that fear that is occupying that space. And imagine that white light of divine creativity flowing from your heart, through your arms, out your fingertips. Infuse each cheap room with love. And watch each fear transmute into higher vibration. Watch that fear transmute into a frequency that you can begin to use for spiritual renovations. Allow yourself to remodel, to renovate, to do some maintenance in your spiritual house. Connect with that divine creative energy.
Bring your heart to me. Bring your heart to me. Lay it out on your sleeve. Bring your heart to me. 'Cause everything good and everything delicious comes from a heart totally committed. Bring your heart. Bring your love to me. Bring your love to me. Let it be all you speak. Bring your love to me. And every word and every smile and every breath like a newborn child. Bring your love to me. Bring, bring, bring. Bring, 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 bring. Bring your fears to me. Bring your fears to me. We'll lay them down at our feet. Bring your fears to me. We'll set them down, just you and I, and watch them burn up to the sky. Bring your fears to me. Bring yourself to me. Bring yourself to me. Bring your all, your everything. yourself to me. Every scar, every way you bleed, let me know you authentically. Bring yourself to me. Bring, 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 bring. Bring your heart to me. Bring your heart to me. Drop the chains, release the guards. Bring your heart to me. Bring your love, bring your fears, bring yourself, bring everything. Bring, 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 bring. Bring your heart to me. Bring your heart to me. Bring your heart to me. Bring.
So as you stay in that contemplative space and reacquaint yourself with your breath, imagine that white light pathway of divine creativity infusing your body with inspiration. Feel inspired to revisit your spiritual home. Feel inspired to spruce up your old rooms and bring new potential. Feel inspired to create new rooms on the foundations that you have already built. Feel motivated to become the master creator using love as your expression. I invite you to pull the white light from the core of the earth up through your body and release it back into the cosmos, knowing that you can invite it back anytime. You can recreate that information highway and revisit your spiritual home, your spiritual rooms, anytime you wish. With your next inhale, I invite you to wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers. Feel the seat under you. And I invite you to take 3 grounding breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling with an H. Inhaling through your nose. Exhaling with a ha, ha. Inhaling through your nose. And exhaling with a big sigh. Anchoring back into the room, into the space, into the chair, the seat that you find yourself in, and back into this beloved space that we have created together. I mentioned love throughout the meditation. We often think that hate is the opposite of love. In reality, fear is the opposite of love. We don't hate because we don't love. We hate because we fear. We fear something in ourselves that might be exposed when it is triggered by or uncomfortable with or unaccepting of another or of a situation. We hurt from our hurt, and we fear from our worst. When we look with curiosity rather than judgment or blame or shame, we can uncover our fears. Uncover means just that, uncover. What we choose to do after the reveal is part of our spiritual progress. It may take a few visits to the house to observe the fear cowering in the corner of its room before we find the wisdom within us to address it and heal the wound. Or we may have to kick down the door. We may have to kick down the door on that room and watch it dancing around in the center of the room, taunting us, daring us to move closer. Wherever the fear lies on the spectrum, there's always an opportunity for healing if and when we are ready. Facing fears fosters faith. Facing fears fosters faith. This is allegorically and poetically described in Canto 1 of Dante's Inferno. How first I entered on that path astray, beset with sleep, I know not. This I know. When gained my feet the upward lighted way, I backward gazed, as one the drowning sea, the deep strong tides has baffled and panting lies on the shelved shore, and turns his eyes to see the league-wide wastes that held him. So mine eyes surveyed that fear, the while my wearied frame rested, and ever my heart's tossed lake became more quiet. Then from that pass released, which yet with living feet had no man left, I set my forward steps aslant the steep, that so, my right foot still the lower, I climbed. Facing fears fosters faith. Faith to recognize when we feel led astray and disconnected from ourselves and the world. Faith to know we will always find the lighted path. Faith to look backward and release the fears that hold us hostage in our own growth. Faith to stare down the fear, the ghosts that used to haunt us. Faith to surrender into a new self, rested and relieved of the wound. Faith to reach upward and continue to climb. We can no longer live in the cheapest room of the house when we are empowered by love rather than fear. That is when we find our voice and we begin to share our story. That is when what seemed to be such an obstacle becomes quite small. Fear is the only thing that shrinks the closer and closer we get to it. The empowerment that we cultivate as it becomes less significant in having its way with us brings a new awareness. First, we realize the insignificance of the fear, even though we previously thought it was something we would never get through. Second, we realize the significance of the fear on the path to our realization of a new self that is closer to the universal love than ever before. Fear surely is an insignificant something. It was everything yet becomes nothing? Does that make us everything and nothing? Are we insignificant somethings?
I won't lie, I love to cry. I got a raging river inside, but my mind doesn't know when to let my heart go, and my soul won't let me hide. I'm a dreamer, I'm kind of lazy, but I call my crazy crazy. I'm a wreck, I'm a wreck, I'm a holy, holy mess, but I'm sacredly awake. And I'm not here because it's home. I'm not lost and I know I'm not alone, 'cause I see it in your eyes and I see it in the stars and I see it everywhere, that the same thing that pains me, well, it pains you. What if we are everything and we're nothing? Are we insignificant somethings? Are we hardly innocent, purely magnificent pieces of the one thing? And we rise and we fall, and we run and we walk and we crawl. Well, we might not have it all together, but together we have it all. And I see you in me, and me in you, and the lines get crossed and blurry, and I worry and I get so confused, because we hurt from our hurt, and we fear from our worst, and we love from the love that we won't drink of. It's an endless, bottomless thirst, and I have found that it matters that the past has passed. And if you dare to let it go and you stare down the ghost, well, the ghost stops staring back. And the same thing that pains me, well, it pains you. What if we are everything and we're nothing? Are we insignificant somethings? Are we hardly innocent, purely magnificent pieces of the one thing? And we rise and we fall, and we run, then we walk, then we crawl. Well, we might not have it all together, but together we have it all. And when you see me, you can know I'm a little bit of her and him, I'm a little bit of me and you. There are no strangers, we're in danger of missing out on this truth, that there are sages and there are queens. There's a seen and there is the unseen. When you gaze in the mirror, will it ever get clearer? Can you wake up from this dream that there are lies before your eyes? We're all wrapped up in a disguise. Well, the truth needs no proof, and it goes by many names and many languages and plenty faces. Stop seeking, you're seeking you, and be still and you know that it's true. If you don't believe it, there's a man by the river with a bucket of water to sell to you. And the same thing that pains me, well, it pains you. What if we are everything and we're nothing? Are we insignificant somethings? Are we hardly innocent, purely magnificent